Hi, I'm Malerie, and this is Between Generations. What stands between generations? Is it time? Is it morals? Is it experience? Are we living in the same world as the generations that came before us? Or have we redefined a new normal? In this series, we dive into how we could heed the lessons of the past and integrate them into a life that will unite us all, between generations. The social and political issues pertaining to the LGBTQ community have evolved rapidly over time. While some countries have made significant advancements, others still allow for severe discrimination. On this episode, we'll explore the climate of the LGBTQ community in Tulsa.
Love is not to be and never will be controlled. It's a warmly welcomed and uninvited intrusive stranger. People don't wake up one day and say to themselves, I'm going to fall in love with someone today. Often it takes them by surprise when they meet someone who makes them feel different than everyone else. People initially learn about love not from their own values and desires, but by the desires of their families, schools, churches, media consumptions, and friends.
Learned about romantic love from TV. My first crush was Winnie Cooper on the Wonder Years, and it probably wasn't a great place to learn about romantic love because it was kind of stalkery.
I believe I learned it from my parents, and I'm not sure I really had any ideas about it. They seemed happy, but I realized that I wasn't someone who was just really excited about marriage.
Ellen came out in 1997, and that was really the first time it had been discussed around me. I went to Catholic schools, so it wasn't at all brought up in our school environment. It wasn't really, if it was brought up by my parents in conversation, I didn't hear it. And I just didn't really have I wasn't aware as a child of having any queer people around me.
I come from a really religious family, religious background, and it wasn't talked about a lot, but when it was, that person was going to hell or you really needed to pray for them, all bad.
People aren't given the opportunity to do the most crucial form of early learning to manifest their overall happiness and well-being. They don't get the opportunity to learn about themselves, their likes, dislikes, disgust, and desires. All of this self-knowledge has to be unpacked and sorted from the boxes of others' expectations and reactions to their lived experiences.
It was a long process because I came from what I came from with the religion, and I had never really taken the time to understand all of that for myself. So as I realized that this was probably my new reality of who I was, I started doing my own research to gain a better understanding of what that really meant for my life, which led me down the path of further diving into religion and all of those things. So it was a difficult path from the perspective that I was really worried about the people that I love the most in the world. And I was also worried about my friends because it wasn't so much that, let me put it like this. If they decided not to be my friends anymore, then I had to see them for who they truly were. And that was going to be difficult because my friendships are easily 30 plus years. But then my family, that was going to be tough. I'm very, very close to my family, very close to my immediate family and my extended family. So the thought that I may not be able to be around them or they were going to think differently of me was really, really tough. But I got to a place one day where I was just like, this is who I am. If they really believe all the things that they've taught all these years, then they're just going to love me and continue to pray for me that I get it together. And my family showed me who they were, and they've been very supportive.
Honestly, for me, the most challenging part was coming out and being accepted. It was never me accepting myself. And I don't even think it was ever like a larger societal acceptance that I was worried about. It was immediate family and things like that. It was difficult. I was the first person in my immediate family and my extended family that had come out, and it was kind of a new path.
I think early on, I was a lot more cautious. Like I was not doing anything if I was with a woman, just because I wasn't sure how other people would react, if it would put us in any type of danger. And especially because I wasn't really out at that time, that's not how I wanted my family to find out. It doesn't matter as much anymore.
But I think you have to kind of think about like your safety and who's around you and what type of, kind of context you're in. There are definitely certain situations in which less PDA or no PDA is called for just because of kind of the people you're around. Oftentimes, it's been interesting at more formal events, being mistaken, like fundraisers and stuff like that, being mistaken as friends rather than partners. And sometimes you have to, use a touch on the back or a handhold to just identify yourself as partners.
Representation is extremely important because so many people feel isolated just for being who they are. And yeah, I think the more people see it, the more normal it becomes. But you always have to keep in mind that there are some people out there who have a visceral reaction to it, and they may decide to take it out on you. Now, if you don't care about that, cool. But it's always something that I think is in the back of, depending on your age, in the back of your mind.
Let's just have a very vague thing, like let's take 41st and Yale. I would be more comfortable showing affection to my partner at a Petco than I would at Academy Sports. And it's just strange. I feel like you're always doing that calculus. As a queer person. Honestly, the queer community has a lot of pets, and I feel like it's like a more welcoming environment. Academy, I'm just always seeing, and this is me maybe stereotyping people, but like guys in camo jackets. And I've actually been followed around Academy before just as a brown person. So like, those are two national changes that it just shows you that kind of little bit of calculus you do when you're out. Is it going to be safe to put my arm around someone or give a peck on the cheek or something like that?
So I had a friend that was attacked at a local store, maybe last year or the year before, simply because of a T-shirt that he wore. So you can imagine him just wearing a T-shirt does not even indicate that he's gay, but for him to have been showing PDA, it could have been a lot worse.
The world can be a scary place to be queer. You fear losing family, friends, and in extreme cases, your life. Fear causes many to hide who they are. Until one day, that seems no different than any other day. They're seated next to someone in the classroom, trained by someone at work, or paired with someone as a teammate at a gathering of friends, and they fall in love. They are no longer looking or assessing based on what stories they've heard from others, but instead become more brave and curious about their own personal story. They are interested in living in a way that they've never had to articulate to anyone, even themselves. Suddenly, the need to be themselves outweighs the need to be who others expect them to be. People are able to find their own unique short story in a broader book of essays. They realize that their own story is perfect the way it's being written within each decision.
I get to be me every single day without the care and concern that I had through most of my 20s and half of my 30s about what people were going to think, how they were going to treat me. And it extended past just people in my family, but into my business and how it might hurt my business. So it has just afforded me the freedom of being me and being comfortable in my own skin.
I'm happy I'm not straight. I'm happy I get to live my life and love women and appreciate them. And it's a great life.
The people. Tulsa has some really good people. So I'm sure I could have found friendships anywhere, but I absolutely love a lot of people that I've had the opportunity to get to know here. So I think when I talk about Tulsa, I talk about its people.
I love my house. I love my neighborhood. I love walking on the river and some of the natural stuff around. I did love going out before COVID.
Thanks for joining us today on this episode of Between Generations. Love is love no matter who it is shared between. Any opportunity to disrupt discriminatory narratives surrounding the LGBTQ community is vital. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and press subscribe. Remember to hit all notifications so you don't miss a single episode. Again, I'm your host Malerie, and be sure to join us on YouTube every other week for Between Generations.